Live from the Haskell House and on exploreClarion.com, it's the Redbank Chevrolet Main Street Sports Show. Welcome back to another show, everyone. I'm your host, Owen Krepps. I'm solo tonight, but I'm not solo in terms of my co-host or my guest for the night. I'm joined today by another Clarion University head coach. We're just knocking them all out. And we got Damian Pitts here from men's basketball. Damian, how you doing? Welcome to the show.
I appreciate you having me. I love being here.
Yeah, absolutely. So tonight, as always, we're going to pick the brains of just talk about sports in general of our area. Of course, we're blessed to have Penn West Clarion, as it's officially called, right in town. So we'll talk about this past season for the men's basketball team that they had there, as well as just the general sporting career and the basketball career of Mr. Pitts as well. So just in general, how are things going for you? I know this is your low point in terms of the chaoticness of your 365 days. So
yeah, the relative low point.
Right.
So we, if you're a coach, you do a lot of running around here and there, And the funny thing that happens for us is, people say, well, what do you do when you're not coaching games? And I say, well, most of it is what we do. So, in terms of recruiting, we're still finishing up some recruiting for next year. We're going into the summertime where we start recruiting for then the following school year. So, organizing all that is pretty time consuming. But May is probably the lightest that we probably go.
Do you have any trips or anything? Are you gonna blow off some steam and any vacations or anything like that this summer?
Yeah, I think my wife is going to make me do that.
Oh.
So we have two sons, and she has an aunt who lives on the beach. So I think we might be going to the beach.
Okay, where at?
Summer. So she lives in Lewis, Delaware.
Okay.
And I call it like Disney World for the 60 and over set. Mm-hmm. It's really a down-to-earth, slow-paced area, and a really great area to kind of chill out.
I know you're obviously not a teacher or a professor or anything, or even a student, but there's got to be that huge sigh of relief when the kids get out of school, no?
For about a week.
For about a week?
Yeah, you're like, oh my God, it's done. The headaches, the hustle, the bustle, it's done. But then you look around after a week and you're like, well, what are we going to do here? You're just so used to doing it. And me and my assistant coaches joke about that all the time. You're running, it's like you're on a treadmill, and then the treadmill immediately stops, and you're like, okay, now what?
Right.
But it's exciting to get a little bit of downtime here coming up.
Yeah, of course. Again, we'll just, in general, for a recap of what this show is about, we're here to talk sports, about people in Clarion in general. I want to just say while we're on the air and while we're starting, if anyone thinks of any potential guests to be on the show, or if anyone wants to be potentially on the show, reach out to me. My email should be okreps@gmail.com, but you can reach out to me or contact the show. We're happy to have Damian on, and we're going to run out of Clarion University coaches by the time that we're going. So we're going to take our first quick break here, and we'll be back to talk about just the general sports world at the higher levels, I guess you would say, with the national, all that good stuff. So that'll be all coming up on the Redbank Chevrolet Main Street Sports Show, sponsored by Redbank Chevrolet, live from the Haskell House and on exploreClarion.com.
No matter how cold it is outside, you can keep warm and toasty inside with a built-in-the-USA super efficient furnace from Luton's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning. Affordable, quiet, and reliable. You can count on your furnace from Luton's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
You can afford a gorgeous, custom-designed hardwood Kales kitchen for a lot less than you'd pay at a DIY store. Go to FactoryDirectKitchens.net. At Kales, there are never middleman markups or hidden charges that can add 40%. Go to FactoryDirectKitchens.net. That's FactoryDirectKitchens.net.
Welcome to 12 Series, a veteran-owned and operated company. Want to stand out amongst the crowd? This is the brand for you. They have apparel that ranges from cardio tanks and hoodies to sweat noggin covers. The apparel isn't just designed for the gym, it's designed for everyday life. Whether at work, the range, or at a family outing, 12 Series will turn heads. Find and like 12 Series on Facebook and Instagram.
Protect your home or business from all those sneaky pests. Give Hugh Henry's Pest Management a call at 814-316-1875 or check them out online at bugguy.com. Pest Management, where nature and technology meet.
Hi, my name is Jason, and welcome to Sweet Basil. Come on in.
Clarion Forest VNA believes the emotional and physical well-being of a patient is enhanced by the patient receiving care in the familiar surroundings of home. Their staff of caring professionals work closely with physicians to administer quality care to meet the needs of each individual. As a pioneer in home health care in Clarion and Forest County, Clarion Forest VNA continue to grow to meet the community's need for in-home care, offering many different services and programs to meet the patient's need. Clarion Forest VNA, located at 271 Perkins Road in Clarion. Call us toll-free at 1-800-262-2118.
Welcome back to the Redbank Chevrolet Main Street Sports Show, live from the Haskell House on exploreClarion.com. We're here with head coach of Clarion University, Penn West Clarion, head coach Damian Pitts for men's basketball. We'll talk just in our second segment. We like to just go general sports news and what's going on in the sporting world. Gearing up, well, since the last time I was on, we had Clarion baseball, high school baseball play at PNC Park, so that was pretty cool. What was the result of that game? Do you guys know?
They ran out of time.
They ran out of time. Interesting.
Overtime, it was getting dark.
Okay. Well, still great experience for them to play at PNC Park. Probably the best ballpark in all the MLB. Yeah. It could be resumed as well. Anyways, else going on in the national sports world. The NBA and the NHL are in the midst of the playoffs. You watching any of that, or?
Very little, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
People ask me, do I watch a lot of basketball? And to be honest, I don't watch much,
Yeah.
Past, Clarion basketball, so.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on in the NBA world, but the NHL playoffs have been pretty entertaining. It's up there this year. I know the Penguins aren't in it, but good hockey. Matthew Tkachuk and David Pastrnak going at each other's throats the other night. It was just so it's good hockey, just overall good hockey. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. The Kentucky Derby happened, and so I didn't watch either the Kentucky Derby or this NASCAR race, but I heard that they were both photo finishes. And you said something special happened to you, like you got a text from someone?
Yeah, so my mother could care less about any sports.
Yeah.
But she text messaged me over the weekend and asked me if I watched the Kentucky Derby because it was an exciting photo finish. So for my mother to be interested, it must have been really impressive.
Yeah, I've thought about always watching the Kentucky Derby because I feel like that's an easy sport to just jump into. It's horse racing. It's not, you don't have to know all the players and all the rules or anything. It's just whichever one goes fastest, you win, and you place your bets or anything like that. But it's only once a year the Kentucky Derby is, and it snuck up on me, and I forgot completely about it this year. Also going on in the sports world today, it was announced the 20 potential team names for the Utah NHL team that the Arizona Coyotes are going to be moving to. And I want to read off some of them. Actually, I'll read off all of them real quick, and I'll tell you my favorite, and you can pick your favorite potentially too. We got the Utah Yeti, Outlaws, Mountaineers, Caribou, Hive, Swarm, Fury, Blizzard, frost, freeze, mammoth, glaciers, powder, venom, black diamonds, canyons, blast, ice, squall, and then just HC for hockey club. Out of those options, I like Yeti the best. What do you think?
I feel like there's only one right answer to this. I have to be honest. It's definitely got to be Yeti.
It's screaming at you right there. We just had the Seattle Kraken come into the NHL, so we got a mythical beast, and I think that would work. The Yeti would be fun. They have to get the logo right, though. It can't be too campy.
Definitely.
It definitely would be a fun mascot, too. Penguins, Pirates, Steelers here real quick. Not much going on with the Penguins, given that it's the offseason and they're not in the Stanley Cup playoffs. I'm waiting on a Mike Sullivan firing. I'm waiting on a Sidney Crosby extension because the more that guy plays, the better the team is. Some guys are playing for the Penguins in the World Championships right now, but I don't think anyone watches those. The draft lottery was on Tuesday. The Penguins were involved, given that they didn't make the playoffs, but their draft pick was 14th overall, so it wasn't top 10 overall. So it goes to the San Jose Sharks, who also won the draft lottery, but it goes to them for the 14th overall pick. So bunch of just minutia, just random stuff for the Penguins. Kind of the same thing for the Steelers, because we're a couple weeks removed from the draft. They didn't pick up the fifth-year option on Najee, which could be an interesting thing, maybe lead to something else. And it doesn't look like they're getting a receiver, so no Brandon Ayuk, which was what I was hoping for. Any thoughts on that?
I have to admit, I'm from the D.C. area, so I'm not the biggest Steelers fan, but I will say I'm super stoked about our draft that we had, so excited for new players to come to D.C.
Absolutely. I'm excited for the Steelers draft class as well. Just a bunch of big dudes is what they got. Just a bunch of offensive linemen, and can't hurt, you know. And then real quick with the Pirates, 17-21 overall record right now, third in the Central. Mitch Keller had a complete game the other day, which was nice. They need to find a little bit more solid ground, but it could be happening with Paul Skeens, number 1 overall draft pick, coming up to play tomorrow, but actually make his debut on Saturday. So I'm super excited for that. I know we were talking before the show about just how important that'll be to the Pirates franchise. I don't know how much of a baseball fan you are, but I'm super excited for Paul Skeens, and I'm not much of a baseball fan.
I'm excited for you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And then real quick, while we have the time, today in sports history, speaking of baseball, the White Sox beat the Brewers 7-6 to this day in history in 25 innings. I don't know if that's the record for the longest MLB game, but that's a lot of innings, and I don't know if I would be able to sit through a game like that. What's the longest basketball game you've been involved in?
Personally, probably a 3 overtime game when I was in college. So yeah.
Were you playing in it too?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I was playing in it. So.
No, and then that includes your coaching too. Like that's the longest you've been.
Yeah, I was the assistant coach at Millersville University for many years, and I think we had a couple of 2 overtime games. Yeah. I don't think anything past that though.
Did you win the triple overtime?
We did. Yeah.
Let's go. Absolutely. That's great. In 1995, the Cleveland Indians scored 8 runs before they even got an out, so that's pretty interesting. And then in 2010, Dallas Braden became the 19th player to pitch a perfect game. So 3 baseball things right there. Anything else you want to add? Anything going on in the sports world locally, like Clarion University? We're all wrapped up for the majority of the sports going on there, but anything going on there you want to talk about?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty quiet around Tipping.
Yeah, it is.
Days,
yeah.
You know, and one day you have, you know, all of these student athletes running around, then the next day you're looking around and it's complete silence. So
yeah. Do you go into like the office and like do all your recruiting work like in Tippin in that area?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I feel like, I mean, I suppose I didn't have to, but I feel like the distractions of being elsewhere
of course,
are too much where I can really stay focused if I'm in the office. And as a matter of fact, I do feel some kind of way about leaving the office sometimes. Like, you know, maybe a bad thing will happen if I'm not there. So I try to stay there as much as I can.
Do you take advantage of the facilities? I know some coaches like to just, especially with the kids not around, just like to use the weight room and even the pool or things like that.
I would love to say that I do.
Yeah.
But no. Maybe that should be one of my focuses over the summer to try to get back into a little bit of shape.
Absolutely. Well, I won't tell you to do that or anything like that, but we will be interviewing Coach Pitts here just in general about this past season and his basketball career. That's coming up on the Redbank Chevrolet Main Street Sports Show live from the Haskell House and on exploreClarion.com.
Hey Julie, nice deck. Did you get that at Tio Nesta Builder Supply?
It's Tio Nesta Builder Supply, and yes, Dave, I did.
Wonder if they sell siding and roofing at Tio Nesta Builder Supply.
It's Tio Nesta, and yes, Tio Nesta Builder Supply has that too. Come on, Dave. You've never been there? They have 2 showrooms for anything home improvement. Mom got a custom kitchen there. Bill down the street got the materials for his garage. They have this awesome website, www.tionestabuilders.us. You can buy online. They really have everything for the home.
Wow, I'm heading over to Tio Nesta. I know. Tio Nesta Builders.
Tio Nesta Builder Supply Home Improvement Center, family owned and operated since 1958, with locations in Tio Nesta and Shippenville.
That sounds good. I'll check them out online at tionestabuilders.us.
Dubrook, a division of M&B Group, is your trusted local ready-mix supplier for residential and commercial projects. Dubrook provides a full line of decorative concrete, as well as concrete supplies, along with a variety of concrete tools and accessories. Dubrook can provide services large or small for residential and commercial projects to contractors or homeowners. Dubrook is here to provide you with options and ideas to make planning your next project simple. Let Dubrook help you with the supplies you need to get the job done. Dubrook is proud to support our local communities with plants in Clarion, Du Bois, St. Mary's, Butler, Evans City, Bradford, and Meadville. Call 1-844-382-7665.
Throughout West Central Pennsylvania, people are losing their glasses. Well, they haven't really lost them. They just don't need them anymore. Thanks to the amazing LASIK surgeons at Laurel Eye Clinic. Call Laurel Eye Clinic and schedule your free consultation.
Clarion Forest VNA believes the emotional and physical well-being of a patient is enhanced by the patient receiving care in the familiar surroundings of home. Their staff of caring professionals work closely with physicians to administer quality care to meet the needs of each individual. As a pioneer in home health care in Clarion and Forest County, Clarion Forest VNA continue to grow to meet the community's need for in-home care, offering many different services and programs to meet the patient's need. Clarion Forest VNA, located at 271 Perkins Road in Clarion. Call us toll-free at 1-800-262-2118.
You can afford a gorgeous, custom-designed hardwood Kales kitchen for a lot less than you'd pay at a DIY store. Go to FactoryDirectKitchens.net. At Kales, there are never middleman markups or hidden charges that can add 40%. Go to FactoryDirectKitchens.net. That's FactoryDirectKitchens.net.
Hi, my name is Jason, and welcome to Sweet Basil. Come on in.
We're thinking of names for Utah in the commercial breaks, but we're going all the way from Utah Stingers. What about Utah Golden Eagles?
Yeah, well, I think we already have that here.
You have that here?
So,
well,
yeah.
That's what we're going to talk about right now with head coach Damian Pitts from Clarion University Golden Eagles men's basketball team. And I want to start with this past season. Not the season you would essentially hope for in terms of a full record, but what did you think the steps you guys made in terms of this season? What do you think those steps were, and where do you think the team is at right now?
Yeah, I mean, some of it obviously disappointing. We'd love to have a better win-loss record. But when you are playing as many first and second year players as we have played over actually the last two seasons, it's going to be difficult. You know, you're playing against really, really good competition. And the good part about it was 12 of our losses could have gone either way. They were really close games. And so I told the team we were 8-20, but we could have easily been 20-8 without any new players, plays, or anything. You know, I tell them that we were talented enough to compete because the games are so close, but not experienced enough to win some of those close games. Right. So hopefully moving forward, you know, the experience, the maturity will help us to improve.
I know the answer is very frustrating, but just how frustrating was it? Those 12 games you mentioned, I went through your guys' schedule and just saw like, oh, they could have had that one, they could have had that one as well. What was the mindset like in the locker room at just having to go through those consistent just nail biters that you just slipped up on?
Yeah, I mean, frustrating, obviously, to a degree, but also it kind of charged the team, maybe. It gave us incentive to play and continue to play because we recognized that we were right there. I had one of my mentors in coaching always said, adversity makes the man. And these are experiences that you can pull from moving forward. If it didn't work that well this year, potentially in subsequent years it could. And so, we talk to the team about that all the time. The game is such where at this level, there's very little difference in talent from one team to another. The difference is all above the neck. And that was the area where I told them at the beginning of the season, we were the weakest at that. If we were going to be having any issues this season, it would be because of our immaturity, and experience. So,
do you want to avoid that frustration, or do you want to kind of encapsulate it and use it as a weapon to get better?
I wish there was a way not to have it.
Yeah.
Right? If there was a way around it, that'd be great. But I feel like, especially in a situation where, so I came to Clarion right before COVID. And really, at the end of our first year, that's a really big recruiting period of time for us that we couldn't do because the world was shut down by COVID.
Right.
And we really couldn't do any off-campus recruiting for 2 years, essentially. And so we had difficulty kind of building the foundation of what the team should be. But now the folks who will be juniors next year were really our first traditional recruiting class. And, they have to learn. You have to learn some of these things, and I don't think there's any other way around it.
How much did COVID have an impact? I know, with the transfer portal and the extra year of eligibility, that's shifted things around dramatically. How much of an impact did that have to you guys, especially coming in for your first season?
It was a double-edged sword of sorts. Well, on the one hand, so I feel like in building a roster from ground up, so I'm a new coach coming into a new situation. The way that you build it is through the foundation of expectation. The foundation of expectation is essentially what people call your team culture. Well, I don't feel like initially you can just build a culture through bringing in all kinds of transfers. So we wanted to bring in young players, take our lumps, but kind of build our foundation through them, and then we could plug and play as needed. Now, so on the one hand, we went young, but on the other hand, because of COVID, the teams in our league maintain their rosters for longer than what would be traditionally normal. And so we kept going up against, as young teams, going up against super, not only from an age standpoint, older players, but from physical maturity, emotional maturity, and just team chemistry, teams that have been together for a long period of time.
Do you think you have instilled that culture in the years that you've been here, and where do you think that's at with the current team that you have right now?
Well, thank the good Lord it's here.
Yeah.
So this coming season, I think, will be the first time since I've been here that we are probably top 2 in returning players. So we're going to have 11 returning players, which is the majority of our team. In terms of the folks who were in our rotation, we're going to have 6 out of the 9 who were, in our rotation coming back. And not only are they good players, we actually have legitimate leadership moving forward with some of our players returning.
Of course.
And so I'm very, very excited. That's where you build. That's how the foundation is built and how you can move forward.
Of course. What is the aspect like with such a young team? I know we talked on the phone, just the mistakes that they would make would often get frustrating. When do you try and flip that switch and try and really enforce them to be mature veteran players? Is it when they hit juniors, or when does that happen?
I wish it was a light switch, right?
Yeah.
You can't see it as it's happening,
yeah.
Right? You can look back and say, well, that was the moment that we kind of matured. But as you're going through it, so you don't really know. And so all you can do is inundate them with facts, inundate them with the understanding, all right, so this is why we lost this game, right? We made mistakes here. And in some games for young teams, you may have lost the game in your preparation 2 hours before the game. So one of the things that we're really doing, and I felt like I needed to be more intentional with for our program moving forward, was the mental side of everything, right? So I'm telling our team, we have to be more mentally in tune, we have to be more mature, we have to be more focused, but I'm not giving them the skills to do it. So this past semester, after the season ended, we were really, really intentional in doing a lot of sports psychology things. And so we've engaged them in ways they probably haven't been before. And, moving forward, I think it'll bear fruit.
Of course. So you kind of answered my question there a little bit, but I was wondering if with the young team, does that change your coaching style? And you mentioned with the sports psychology, it kind of does. You want to get them emotionally and mentally secure before they go out on the court and make plays.
Yeah.
Just what is that aspect like? Have you had different teams where it's more mature and more veterans, and did you coach them differently as you coached a team that's as young as yours is right now?
Yeah, well, ironically, as a head coach, I've always had young teams.
Yeah.
Just a quirk of kind of my luck, I suppose. But as an assistant at Millersville, I helped the head coaches kind of build from scratch. And in doing so, like that kind of shaped my thought process in how you build teams, because it worked there. And we started with pretty much nothing when we got in, and within 4 or 5 years we were in the conference championship, and we had then won it, and making multiple NCAA deep runs into the tournament. And so I wanted to try to mirror that experience here. It just hasn't worked because you throw in 2 years of COVID.
Yeah.
But I feel like the mentality, the way that you go about it is the right way. And I think that in the next probably year or two, folks will start seeing the fruits of that being bare.
Of course. Now, with such a young team coming up, and I'm just going to come out and say it, with so many transfers in the transfer portals, kids just moving around like it's a game in some aspects, how important is it to keep those players that you have, that you've grown with and that you've matured and you've instilled that culture in? And how do you do that, essentially, and as well as recruit new players to come and build into that culture?
Yeah, I think that a couple of things come to mind. Number one, you have to have a family environment, right? People, teams always come together and say, we're family and my brotherhood and my brother and stuff like that, but there has to be meaning behind it, right? There has to be meaning behind it. And I feel like, there's always going to be people who prefer a different situation. In any sport, like, this is not new. That part of it is not new.
Right.
All the transfer portal has done is given people an opportunity to bounce around with no penalty, right? That's all it's done. But there's always been people who have not felt comfortable in their environment, right? And so, people will leave. But the majority, if you can keep the majority of your team, that is now your superpower. Because although you can hop into the transfer portal and pick a person from here, pick a person from there, and they may be really, really good players, but team chemistry is a thing. The reason why the PSAC West, the PSAC West, has been so good over the last since I've been here, the last 5 years, is because of the COVID waiver. And there's been so many people and so many teams that have just been there together.
Right.
And the chemistry's there, And so if you can keep your core intact, right, and move them from year to year, you'll have an advantage over teams who, I got this Division I transfer here or this JUCO transfer here. But, will the chemistry be there?
That's a great point. I'm glad you mentioned that. But in terms of your team right now, looking forward to next season, where do you think it's at with the recruiting that you have been doing, the transfers you have coming in, and the returning players that you have?
Yeah, so we had to fill some pretty important positions. We needed to get a point guard in. We lost our point guard, Steve Kelly, and then we lost, talk about the transfer portal, we actually lost our leading scorer, Cam Kearney, to the transfer portal. He's transferred up to Niagara, Division I. So those were the two biggest holes that we need to fill, and so we filled them first. So we have, two really good transfers coming in for there. And then the rest, we need some big guys, some guys to fill out the roster with athleticism and length. But for the most part, it's not a lot of people. Probably total 3 or 4 people.
Well, good luck in that process, and just What would you say would be a successful season next year, you think?
Yeah, we got to get better, right? We need to be better, a better record. We need to be more mature. We need to be better teammates. We need to do all of those things.
Of course. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back and we'll be talking and continue our conversation with Clarion University men's basketball head coach Damian Pitts on the Redbank Chevrolet Main Street Sports Show.
This is a great show.
Hey, check out this all-new 2024 Chevrolet Krepps 1RS in cacti green. Let's talk about some of those safety features. We have blind spot monitoring system, we have forward collision system with alert and brake, and we have lane departure warning as well. How about the gas mileage?
30 miles per gallon average. Yeah, it's great. Bumper-to-bumper warranty and the 5-year 60,000 mile powertrain warranty.
And check out the clarity on this backup camera on this 11-inch touchscreen. Can you believe you get all the features like heated steering wheel, heated seats, remote start, power sunroof, all for $24,900?
It's a great value in the new Chevrolet. Hey, check out this Glacier Blue RST Silverado 4x4 Z71 full drive. 5.3 liter V8. Really nice sharp truck. All LT and RST Silverados have this same interior. Got this really large touchscreen display, built-in Google Maps, heated seats, automatic climate control, heated steering wheel. We have a backup camera, really great display, and all the safety aspects. Adaptive parking, adaptive braking, pedestrian braking, blind spot mitigation.
Follow us to Redbank Chevrolet.
Dubrook, a division of M&B Group, is your trusted local ready-mix supplier for residential and commercial projects. Dubrook provides a full line of decorative concrete, as well as concrete supplies, along with a variety of concrete tools and accessories. Dubrook can provide services large or small for residential and commercial projects to contractors or homeowners. Dubrook is here to provide you with options and ideas to make planning your next project simple. Let Dubrook help you with the supplies you need to get the job done. Dubrook is proud to support our local communities with plants in Clarion, Du Bois, St. Mary's, Butler, Evans City, Bradford, and Meadville. Call 1-844-382-7665.
Throughout West Central Pennsylvania, people are losing their glasses. Well, they haven't really lost them. They just don't need them anymore. Thanks to the amazing LASIK surgeons at Laurel Eye Clinic. Call Laurel Eye Clinic and schedule your free consultation.
You can afford a gorgeous, custom-designed hardwood Kales kitchen for a lot less than you'd pay at a DIY store. Go to FactoryDirectKitchens.net. At Kales, there are never middleman markups or hidden charges that can add 40%. Go to FactoryDirectKitchens.net. That's FactoryDirectKitchens.net.
No matter how cold it is outside, you can keep warm and toasty inside with a built-in the USA super efficient furnace from Luton's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning. Affordable, quiet, and reliable. You can count on your furnace from Luton's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Welcome back to the Redbank Chevrolet Main Street Sports Show, live from the Haskell House on exploreClarion.com. We're resuming our conversation here with Clarion University men's basketball coach Damian Pitts. I want to start with I want to dive into your basketball career just in general, starting in Maryland. Yeah. We just talked a little bit during the break there. You went to a big school. I'm assuming you played basketball during your high school days?
I did.
What was that experience like? Any big moments, big championships, things like that? And where'd you go to school?
So I went to Laurel High School. I'm originally from right outside the D.C. area, Prince George's County. So I lived all over that area. But I went to high school in Laurel High School, and there was, as we just talked about 3,000 students in my class, and so it was fun. It was fun to play basketball. I got a little bit of notoriety because I made the varsity team as a sophomore, as a 10th grader, which no one really had done that.
At a big school.
Yeah, at a big school. Yeah, and so I had a really big head there for a while. I'm not gonna lie. My parents had to kind of pat it down a little bit, but it was a fun experience.
What was how when did basketball start to be an impact in your life? Were you one of those kids that had a ball in your hands when you were a toddler?
Actually, no. The funny thing is, my whole family big into football.
Okay.
And so I convinced myself that I wanted to be a football player. And in 6th grade, I was playing football, and I was pretty athletic, so I would make a play here or there. But it was November, and I was on the sideline for like a Turkey Bowl game, and it started snowing. And so I'm looking around, and I'm cold, and I'm thinking to myself, what am I doing here? I need a climate control sport, and so basketball was the way to go.
It is, yeah. What? So that was another question I had real quick. Is what other sports did you play? Football, basketball?
Yeah,
Were you baseball?
Really those two. No, my father was a really good baseball player, but I could never really get into it. It's way too slow for me.
Yeah, and I'm assuming basketball kind of emerged to be your sport.
Yeah. I mean,
what was it about the sport that did it for you?
Well, I immediately was half decent.
Yeah.
So I was really tall. Like I was unusually tall for my age. I shot up. As a matter of fact, I'm 6'5" now, and I stopped growing in 8th grade. So I thought that I was going to be like 7 feet tall, the way it was. And so although I was very uncoordinated starting out, I could still stumble into plays just because I was tall, long, and athletic.
Any big memories, any big championships in high school or anything like that? Or
we didn't win any championships, but we weren't very good. There's a lot of really, really good players and teams down in that area. PG County is really a hotbed for basketball. So, part of the reason why I made the team as a 10th grader is because we weren't very good.
Yeah.
And there weren't really a lot of older people. And so we won a grand total of 1 game my first year. We were 1-21.
Oh, wow.
But by my senior year, we had, taken the team to the state regional final.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah, definitely something to be proud of. What was next after that? What was college like for you? And you played ball there too as well.
Yeah, so I went to Goucher College, which is a small Division III liberal arts school in the Baltimore area. So I go from one metropolitan area to another. Mm-hmm. And when I got there, they had just won a conference championship, and they had a ton of seniors coming back. And that actually appealed to me to kind of learn how the process of being a winner would be at the college level. And so my first year, although I didn't play a ton, we won the championship again, for my freshman year, and we made a deep run into the NCAA tournament. And as a matter of fact, we played Lebanon Valley College in the NCAA tournament, and the head coach of Penn State, Mike Rhodes, was the best player for Lebanon Valley then, and we actually beat them in his last college game.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then we just had a lot of success over the course of the time that I was at Goucher, and it really taught me, how to prepare to win, like what it takes to be a winner.
Of course. Any you still connect with any of those people that you went back to school with?
Oh yeah.
Of course.
One of my good buddies I talk to almost daily.
Yeah.
We talk about the old times. He always has opinions on basketball, so I tell him about the recruit that we have or the player that I'm having issues with, and he always has an opinion. So
did any of them also go into coaching?
Yeah, so one of my teammates went into coaching also. He's the head coach at Roanoke College, a Division III school, really good Division III school in Virginia. His name's Clay Nunley. And we kind of go back and forth every now and then, he and I as well.
Of course. Who was your coach in college? Did you have the same coach over the course of 4 years? And how much of an impact did he make on you to end up coaching, essentially?
Yeah, Leonard Trevino. He really knew how to amass talent. I think his greatest skill was recruiting. He had a bunch of players on that team that probably didn't have any business being in Division III. I think that most of us were probably scholarship level players. But he got us there. And the one thing that I learned from him is the discipline of defense and the importance of defense. You were not getting on the basketball court if you weren't defending for him. So, he would rip us every now and then. He was not afraid to, say a couple unkind words, but he got us where we needed to be from a competitive standpoint.
From an education standpoint, what did you go for in college?
Well, so I was a history major.
Okay.
And ironically, before this whole basketball life started in terms of a career, I thought that I was going to be an archivist. I had that was my plan, my idea to be an archivist. And for those of you who don't know what an archivist is a glorified librarian. So
Okay.
I can't imagine being an archivist now. But
Oh, like archive it. Okay, I see what you mean.
yeah.
Where do you do those things at? Like where?
Well, so the one thing about living in Maryland, the National Archives
Okay.
are literally 20 minutes from where my parents live, and so I had always kind of thought that would be a thing to do. And actually, the reason why I got into coaching was to get my master's degree so that I could compete better for a job at the National Archives.
Oh yeah, wow. What's your favorite area of history to study?
Well, so we're really going to get nerdy here. So Civil War history, the military aspect of it, but also like antebellum South and that whole culture. Yeah. I actually was published, believe it or not.
Okay.
I had a article in one of the Baltimore periodicals of the time when I was just graduating college about slave clothing and diet.
Interesting.
Yeah, very dry subject matter, but I was just so wrapped up in the researching part of things. I really enjoyed that, and that was probably why I moved toward history.
Yeah, but you didn't end up getting that. It didn't end up working out that way. You end up coaching. How did you get here? Did you ever think about when you were playing being a coach, or did it just kind of happen?
Probably, if you ask any of my teammates, they would say I would be the least likely person to coach. Because I was kind of introverted. I wasn't really someone who would talk a lot and kind of thing. But and like I said, the reason why I got into coaching initially was a means to an end, trying to get my master's degree to compete for an archiving job. But what I learned in that first year, really the first semester, being a graduate assistant at Millersville University, was that it's about so much more than coaching. Yes, it's the X's and O's and you tell a guy to go here and shoot it. But at the end of the day, it's more than that. You're teaching them how to mature. You're being a mentor for them. And that's kind of where I fell in love with the profession.
So after your college experience, you said you're a graduate assistant at Millersville.
Yeah.
Any other pit stops then? And what was your experience like at Millersville? I don't want to skip over the ring.
Yeah, well, so when I first got there, Fred Thompson was the head coach, and then he had his first year prior to me getting there. He needed a graduate assistant, and so he hired me. And he had me on the road. We were doing a ton of recruiting, and we built a team that competed and won the PSAC championship. So I actually missed the first championship because my graduate assistantship ended. I went back to Maryland and worked for a sports marketing company and coached high school ball for 2 years. Then I came back when the full-time position opened up, and we had similar success. And so this ring that I'm wearing right now is one of the championships that we won when I came back, one of the PSAC championships that we won.
Were there any other pit stops in between there and Clarion University?
No, well, yeah. So after I was at Millersville for a long time.
Yeah.
And I deemed it was necessary for me to take the next steps in my career. And I really wanted to be a head coach. I decided that I was ready to do that and take that next step. And so I got my first head coaching job at Centenary University, which is the small Division III school in North Jersey. And with not a great long history of success in basketball. So it was definitely a challenge, but something I really, really enjoyed and treasure the memories.
And then, of course, how'd you end up here?
Well, Clarion was always a job that was on my radar from my years at Millersville. I felt like there was really a great deal of potential here. Not just in the university, but in the surrounding area, in the community. And so there was for a while, I thought about, Clarion as being maybe a stop on my journey.
And then what decided you to get here? Essentially, what sold you on Clarion?
Yeah, it was difficult because I was at Centenary for 2 years and we were turning it around. We had like one of the best records in school history with just freshmen. So basically how I wanted to move things along here, I did at Centenary first. And so we were really, really bad the first year. And then we brought in a ton of freshmen and we competed. We made the fourth seed of the in the playoffs, and we had the number 1 seed on the ropes. And I felt like with all these freshmen coming back, that we would likely win the league and make an NCAA tournament run as sophomores. And then if we're doing that as sophomores, what could the future hold for us? But the draw of coming back to the league, coming back to the PSAC was just too much, you know. And when this job opened up, I talked to my wife and I said, I might need to go for this. You know? And when I got it, it was actually so bittersweet because I was really excited about, you know, getting back into the league. And I mean, I love the competition, you know, on this level and such, but I felt really bad because those kids that I had brought in, those young players, they were so excited about what was to come. And so that kind of hurt having to tell them that I was moving on, but you know, as a career move, I felt like it was the right thing to do.
Yeah, but you have that right now with your current team, and hopefully you can build towards a bright future with them.
Yeah.
We're going to take a quick break on the Redbank Chevrolet Main Street Sports Show, where we'll be back to wrap things up with men's basketball head coach Damian Pitts, and that'll be coming up after the break.
Hey, Julie, nice deck. Did you get that at Tio Nesta Builder Supply?
It's Tio Nesta Builder Supply, and yes, Dave, I did.
Wonder if they sell siding and roofing at Tio Nesta Builder Supply.
It's Tio Nesta, and yes, Tio Nesta Builder Supply has that too. Come on, Dave. You've never been there? They have 2 showrooms for anything home improvement. Mom got a custom kitchen there. Bill down the street got the materials for his garage. They have this awesome website, www.tionestabuilders.us. You can buy online. They really have everything for the home.
Wow, I'm heading over to Tio Nesta. I know. Tio Nesta Builders.
Tio Nesta Builder Supply Home Improvement Center, family owned and operated since 1958, with locations in Tio Nesta and Shippensville.
That sounds good. I'll check them out online at tionestabuilders.us.
Protect your home or business from all those sneaky pests. Give Hugh Henry's Pest Management a call at 814-316-1875 or check them out online at bugguy.com. Pest Management, where nature and technology meet.
No matter how cold it is outside, you can keep warm and toasty inside with a built-in-the-USA super efficient furnace from Luton's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning. Affordable, quiet, and reliable. You can count on your furnace from Luton's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Welcome back to the Redbank Chevrolet Main Street Sports Show, live from the Haskell House on exploreClarion.com. I'm Owen Krepps, joined by Damian Pitts, men's basketball head coach at Clarion University. We're going to wrap up our conversation just about basketball in general. We talked a little bit about your guys' past season, the upcoming season, the bright future you guys have, and then your legacy and like your longevity as a coach and things like that. Being involved with the sport as long as you have, what do you think has changed over the course of basketball since you were playing to where you are now?
So I'll tell you what has changed and what has remained the same. Obviously, with the transfer portal and that whole deal, it changed the way you recruit, like the way you team build, a great deal. But at the end of the day, basketball has been and will always be about relationship building. You know, if you can build relationship with people, and not just player to player, coaches to coach, AAU coaches, high school coaches. There's a spider web of relationships that you build, and that has always been the same, and I don't imagine that will ever change.
Kind of along those same lines, what do you think is the general state of basketball is at right now in America? Do you think is it still as popular as it was in the Jordan days, like in the 90s? You still feel like you have a good influx of talent and youth, and growing up, it's still as popular as ever, is it not?
Yeah, it's a popular sport. It's easy to play. People love it, and really, it gives you instant gratification. I don't know if there's many sports that can give you the instant gratification of a switch, right? That you can, it doesn't matter how many you could be the worst player. You take 100 shots, but that one that goes in, it makes it come back.
Yeah, as a non-basketball player, I can still agree to that. Yeah. I want to ask also a little bit, just a kind of a little random question here on basketball itself. What do you think is misunderstood about basketball, even specifically college basketball right now?
Yeah, well, college basketball specifically is the fact that, it's not just about basketball, right? College athletics really is about building the character of young men and women, helping them mature. And you're using the sport as a vehicle to do that, And so basketball, for example, we're trying to teach the young men life lessons that they can, progress and move and help them later on in their lives.
Of course. A couple just random questions I would like to add in this last segment here. Any specific funny moments over the past season that stand out or you want to share?
I don't know about funny moments. I don't know if this was this year, maybe a couple years ago, one of my assistant coaches. So when we do our stretching, we have music typically playing in the background. And I think someone took a video of me doing the robot.
Nice.
that was doing the rounds there for a little period of time. But I made sure for this year there's no videos of Coach dancing.
Yeah.
So.
What is the team chemistry like team building and road trips and things like that? Where's the furthest you guys traveled to?
Last year we traveled to Winston-Salem, North Carolina.
Okay.
So that was pretty far.
Yeah.
But normally it's within a radius about 2 or 3 hours.
2 or 3 hours. Do you feel like you guys have a good group in terms of like off the court type things with just how you guys handle things like team building and exercises and things like that?
Yeah. There's not a lot of definites in college athletics, but I feel like this team is going to reach the goals that we're setting for them because they are so in tune with one another. I don't know if I've ever been around a team, as a player, coach, or whatever, that is so tight and in tune with one another as our current team. So I'm excited about that.
Absolutely. Any big things you're looking forward to next season? Like, is there any specifics, like any milestones anyone's going to hit, any big games? Have you scheduled yet? Is that down the line?
We're basically done, yeah.
Okay.
We're basically done.
Are there any games on the schedule that you're circling so far?
I wouldn't say circling. I'm excited. Millersville comes to play us this year.
Okay, there you go.
And I love my experience at Millersville. The head coach there now, Casey Stitzel, is a really, really good friend of mine, and I look forward to him coming out here and I can show him the fine hospitality of Clarion.
Of course. Well, we wish you all the best of luck in that next season as well. Thank you for coming on and joining our show. And that'll wrap up not only our show, but our string of guests from Clarion University. I had a bunch of head coaches and assistant coaches and just members, student athletes as well. But I'll let you get back to your vacation. You're going to Delaware. So I enjoy that.
At some point I will. Yeah.
At some point, yeah. But this is your low time. So, we'll wrap things up here. Thank you for joining us, Damian, and thank you for joining and watching us on the Main Street Sports Show, sponsored by Redbank Chevrolet, live on Explore Clarion, and from the Haskell House.